Low self-esteem, the feeling of being a bother, thinking 1,000 times before giving your opinion in front of others. Many of these symptoms affect people with ADHD, and I was one of them. I invested in self-knowledge, tried various strategies, and after a lot of training and practice, I developed a method to overcome all of this. And you can also learn about this method in the first link in the description. Dangerous things. For someone with ADHD, things you should stay away from. ADHD should stay far away from and should never do. But before I make the list of dangerous things you should never do, don't forget to sign up for the club. ADHD in Action, the link is up here or in the video description too. It's a club where you'll have a course, tools that every person with ADHD should have to learn how to get through daily life. In addition to a community on Telegram just for subscribers, I'm also in that community and we'll be able to chat over there. All right. Many people reach out to me in my inbox. They contact me, send emails, you name it, to find out, Yuri, what is the activity that is prohibited? So what should someone with ADHD keep their distance from? Or what is the activity that is better, that suits us more, that we can do without fear? For example, can you imagine a surgeon who has ADHD and makes a wrong cut? And if he forgets, I don't know, the scissors inside the patient, closes up the patient with the scissors inside, it turns out that this kind of accident can happen to anyone. And I have several examples of people who are doctors, successful ones, including people who are surgeons, which is something you might be thinking about that requires a lot of detail, of handling, and that would be something that doesn't work for someone with ADHD. No, someone with ADHD can never be a bank teller, for example. You could be at the store register giving the wrong change every day. No, I myself worked as a teller at Banco do Brasil for several months and never made a single mistake. That's because my method was to always count the money twice. Something that my colleagues who are apparently neurotypical didn't do. Sometimes they do the job faster. But without security, I've gotten tired of seeing colleagues who were quick, they were recognized for that, but they would have discrepancies almost weekly. It came out of their pockets. But I have ADHD and I didn't go through that because I applied that technique there. Oh my God, will my son be able to serve in the army if he wants to? There are no obstacles to serving in the army. In fact, when you serve there, that year when you turn 18, you can, depending on the location, of course, I can't say for sure, but you might be assigned to an area that you have more interest in. Remember that the strength of ADHD is in what it can show as work, much above average compared to the other activities he does. So serving the army has no kind of restrictions for people with ADHD. Oh, can someone with ADHD drive? Can they get a driver's license? Of course they can, folks. There is a test there, which is the psychotechnical test, and it serves as a natural filter. If you pass that test, if you have motor coordination, if you have reflexes, if you complete all the necessary activities for the system to evaluate that you are fit, then you are fit. There are people with ADHD who are qualified. There are people with mild autism who are qualified. Also with dyslexia, so ADHD will never stop you from getting a driver's license. And another thing, thinking that I'm going to run a red light, that I'm going to hit people, that's absurd. I've never committed any serious infractions myself, except once in a while, going 20% over the speed limit, for example, but I've never been involved in an accident. So it's not exactly how it happens. Remember that there are people who are, quote unquote, neurotypical and can still have some difficulties and crashing the car all the time. So it's not a report that will say whether you can or cannot, for example, get a driver's license. And in fact, there is no task, no activity that is prohibited for you if you have ADHD. It's that simple. If you have it, or if you are a parent of a child who has it, know that there are no restrictions at all. And even if you want to do activities that require a lot of concentration, a lot of focus, like for example, being a surgeon, which was an example I mentioned, if you really love doing that, you'll be able to enjoy it to the fullest. You'll be able to excel at it. ADHD handles activities really well when it can truly dive in and show what it's here for. So, more dangerous than doing activity X or activity Y is not knowing what ADHD really is. Being a victim of prejudice from people who don't understand that this is indeed a disorder. And for you who have ADHD, it's equally dangerous not to know yourself, not getting treatment and not seeking therapy. All right. Thanks. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.
ADHD, stop blaming others. Unfortunately, your parents, teachers, colleagues, they may have been hard on you, but you need to stop blaming them to develop your self-responsibility and finally take off in life. I also went through all of this and suffered into adulthood, but I developed a method to put an end to it. You can access this method in the first link in the description.